Blumhouse, a studio I love to hate. I'm John Rentlin with my review of The Craft Legacy. Yeah, Blumhouse basically took the Craft name, put a hodgepodge of subplots and ideas and everything, and said that'll be $20. That's basically it. If you haven't seen The Craft, it's 1996 original. Clueless with witches, essentially, is what it is. And it had life and energy, and Nev Campbell, and Fairuza Balk, and Robin Tooney, and various others, and just really had a lot of energy to it. And what happens when you take your witchcrafty powers and take them too far? Maybe somebody can go evil. Maybe you have to, do something really, really stupid and make a sequel that nobody fucking wanted 24 years later. It kind of reminds me of when they did The Rage Carrie 2 and tried to craft their own story and then just fell back on the familiar tropes and tried to tie it into the original in the laziest way possible. This did it worse. This actually did it worse. None of the subplots really were necessary. It just felt like it was deviating from the idea of doing witchcraft, and the girls don't really get to explore their powers much until way later in the movie. I'm going to save the spoilers, for the spoiler portion of the review. But just watching this, even the cast wasn't even the problem. David Duchovny's in this, and he was sleepwalking through this. And no, that's not a knock of, how he normally acts in a movie, kind of monotone and everything. He literally was sleepwalking through this movie. I think he was, so out of his goddamn mind. Michelle Monaghan, I hope I pronounced that right. She actually looks great in this. Looks like she's at least 15 years younger. She's been great in a lot of movies. And the young cast, you got Kaylee Spaney. She plays the main character, Lily, that has a backstory that we find out about later. Even though if you've seen the original and you saw the trailer, if you even saw 30 seconds of this trailer, you know where it's fucking going. And predictability is not the worst thing in the world when it comes to horror movies, especially Blumhouse productions. You can have a lot of fun with that. Or you can just be lazy as fuck about this. The three girls that are practicing the witchcraft, Lourdes, Frankie, Tabby, they're fine. The acting is fine, but the writing is absolute shit. Zoe Lister-Jones, who directed the movie Band-Aid, this is only this is like one of her few, directorial, features that she's done, and everybody's got to start somewhere. And I'm not even saying it's her fault. This could have been studio interference. They could have said, hey, the first draft looks good. Well, everybody's talking in text speak and saying JK and stuff like that years after anybody would talk like that. Nobody talks like this. Does anybody actually talk like, most of the adults talk in this movie? Or most of the teenagers talk in this movie? I really don't understand how anybody could look at the script and say, yeah, that's a great idea. We should put that out there and put the Craft name on there, because otherwise somebody's going to realize that we don't have any fucking material for this. I haven't even described the plot. So Lily moves with her mom, Helen, to, a new house, owned by Adam, and he has 3 sons. It's Adam and my 3 sons. No, he doesn't pull the Sanford and Son thing. He doesn't do any of that stuff. He doesn't do anything creative. He just sleepwalks through the whole goddamn thing. Lily, starts, at times will get weird visions. She'll just get weird visions of like snakes and stuff like that. A snake actually came across the grass at one point, and she starts seeing weird things. And it's obvious that there's something going on, but we don't find out what for a while. There's also a lot of musical montages in this. This movie is 86 minutes before it gets to the credits. And the musical montages, I think I could time, were probably about 6 minutes. That's saying, that proves right there that they didn't really have anything for it. I thought Fantasy Island was lazy. I thought Truth or Dare was lazy. Truth or Dare was at least hilarious. Fantasy Island was at least hilarious. Now, this got unintentionally hilarious later on. But also, they tried for some serious, commentary on, some issues and some struggles that people go through. And then they just take them, okay, crumpled up, throw it to the side. That's it. We're just going to do that. We're just going to do this to basically have a few scenes with a character, and then we're just going to move on from that. But we're not going to go back to any of the witchcrafty stuff. Remember how in the original the girls did, they did stuff like stealing clothes and pretending that they paid for them and stuff like that, and actually committed crimes and committed, stuff, and then eventually led to a fracture with Robin Tooney's character and everybody else. And it was obvious she was the most powerful one, and we found out why. But also, there was a little bit of mystery because it's like, okay, hey, she's, this powerful woman and everything. And we find out that, she has these dark powers, but she can make them for good, or she can, use them for evil. In this one, all the girls do is play a few pranks. That's all they fucking do. And it's actually kind of hilarious that after discovering, and becoming, the north, south, east, and west, air, fire, water, earth, that they all really don't do anything with their powers. And the way the powers are introduced are fucking hilarious. They will just suddenly, oh, hey, I can suddenly conjure fire. I can suddenly throw people. I can suddenly do this. I can suddenly realize that, wait a second, this person that the mom's dating may not actually be a great person. Or wait, maybe this guy that's bullying me might actually have some issues that he's dealing with. Or whatever. They could deal with this stuff in a funny way, or they could treat it seriously, and then they could go for full-on, bullshit horror comedy later, after they lost the plot and after the thing just totally left the goddamn barn and all the goddamn cliches and everything. This movie is fucking bad. This might be the worst thing I've seen this year. And that's saying something. Now, I mean, I'll have to determine that at the end of the year, but this has got to be in the top 10. Because it's a lazy sequel. It's barely even a sequel. Like, the only way it's a sequel is something they tie in towards the end, and I'll talk about that here in spoilers. But honestly, if you want to get some friends together and split the money, because it is $20 and you get it on Amazon Instant Video, or you pay $25 and own the damn thing, this is going to be the future. We're going to get a lot of stuff that we got to pay for at home because a lot of theaters aren't open. And in the case of my state, they may not be open much longer with the way, with the way things are going. I really will be surprised if movies like this keep getting made for this price. They might have to knock them down, because I don't mind paying for it. It after paying bills, if you have the spare money and everything, you get some friends together, it's fine. But you're not going to enjoy yourselves unless you recognize that this is a totally unnecessary sequel, complete shit. The special effects are absolute ass. The writing is terrible. Who the villain turns out to be is the most ridiculous goddamn thing. And any of the stuff, it almost goes the Black Christmas route, where it tries to make men bad, women good. And that was what I was afraid of when I saw the trailer, and it actually turned out to be not quite that bad, but it turned out to be pretty ridiculous. But they will just put scenes together, and then just, oh, no, we're going to forget about these characters. Oh, we'll forget about this. Wait, we're a craft movie. We need to bring back the magical powers. We need to do this. That's basically what it was. It just kept forgetting what the fuck it was. So now I'm going to get into spoilers here a little bit. So, yeah, 3, 2, 1, and go! There's a spoiler warning. Spoilers. Quick, quick, quick. Okay, so I talked about Lily having a dark past. It ties back to Nancy's character, Fairuza Balk. Remember the evil one that got locked in the sanitarium later? It turns out that Lily was adopted by Helen, and that she's Nancy's daughter. That's it. That's it right there. And Adam David Duchovny's character apparently has sons that, is part of a warlock family. Or he's just a warlock. Or maybe he just suddenly develops powers because the script decided that he should. And he tries to take Lily's powers. The movie literally will have the girls just play a prank on this boy Timmy, this boy that bullied her, that bullied Lily on her first day because she had a bad heavy flow period. No, really, that's how the girls bond. And then they play a spell on, or they put a spell on him to, teach him a lesson and everything. They use a used condom and a bong as a way to get his essence and everything, and curse him and make him realize who he is, or change who he is and everything. And he becomes woke Timmy, so to speak, as they say. It actually turns out that he is actually bi. Now, he struggles with that. And that's actually something they could have gone with and they could have dealt with pretty damn well. And I don't think the movie meant to be insulting with it. But also the way they did it, it's okay, they kind of just threw that in there. He realized who he was, but he couldn't handle it. And he confessed to the girls, and they didn't make fun of him or anything. I mean, even though he did make fun of Lily, he did apologize to her at a party, and we get all this stuff, and we get more musical montages and more bullshit and everything, and Lily, it's very obvious that there's this stuff going on with her, and yeah, then the character Timmy had hooked up with one of Adam's sons. Well, that's uncalled for in Adam's world, where I think he practically is a warlock that does gay conversion therapy, goes around and meets people around the world and everything. There's a whole bunch of unanswered stuff which would be mysterious and scary and interesting if they had any level of intelligence behind this movie. They just fucking didn't. And it was actually rather funny seeing just how bad this movie got. To the point I was actually almost ready to ask for a refund. And I'm like, well, I'd have to really come up with a creative way to do it. So I was like, no, I've seen worse movies. Unfortunately, by the end of it, I'm actually convinced this is the worst movie I've seen this year. And I thought Coffee and Kareem was the worst. This movie's practically insulting, and it's lazy, and it's ridiculous. And the way the girls, like, they first separate. Remember how in the original you had Robin Tunney's character, she was the good one, so to speak. She got ousted. And she tried to bind Nancy, but that didn't work. And then she was able to bind her, but, because the script just decided that's how it should happen. In this one, they bind each other because, or, the girls bind her and themselves to get rid of their powers because they're like, we shouldn't have used this because Timmy dies, but he's actually killed. And he tells them through this Ouija board. It was nice that the Ouija board was actually the best actor in the goddamn movie and the least wooden, if you believe that. But in this, he tells her, oh yeah, well, he tells her earlier that he tells Lily that there's this, that he lost his mom and everything, communicates with her through a Ouija board, and then tells the girls later, and now they got to go rescue Lily before Adam takes her powers. And then the powers are suddenly back because they unbind each other. But then Adam suddenly develops these powers and just, destroys them or tries to destroy them. And then they kill him in a fire, like, in the north, south, east, west, air, fire, water, earth, little, circle thing. And that's pretty much it, the 4 points. And they kill him. And then the girls go off and vanish. And then Lily meets Nancy. And that's pretty much it. This movie, actually, it almost hurt. It was almost hilarious watching this. So, yeah, this is what they should have done with the script. They should have literally done this. They practically did, because I'm not even knocking the talent of the director. I'm sure she can do some other good stuff. And hopefully the cast can move on, the young cast at least, can move on to bigger and better things. This movie is just so fucking lazy. It wasn't horrifying. It was comedic in the wrong way, and it wasn't a good way to, bring the craft into the new age. It's just one of the worst movies I've seen in a while, and the worst movie I've seen this year. Now, that may change in a couple months, but good God, the Craft Legacy is absolute shit. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.